Hello and welcome to Morning Coffee with Maddog Merv. I still have my winter mug, but that's only because it holds a lot more coffee and today I need a ton. Let's see what we got going on the channel this week. Welcome to Morning Coffee. Maddog Merv today. Got our French roast this morning
Bagel.
again. No wonder I'm a big fat guy. I mean,
And then
holy
they
cow.
I always had a schmear. A schmear.
He's probably going for bagels. He's trying to steal
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it.
I have no clue.
And I got a bunch of chores to do. Oh, who wants to do that?
So today's shout out goes to Hammerhead Model Making, and this is a channel that I came across because of a comment on one of my videos, and apparently this is run by a guy who's a fellow Utahn and has some really neat content on there. I never knew about him, but we've definitely crossed paths in the circles that we run in, which I just think it's funny how many people that you may know that I actually know, or that I know that you may actually know, that kind of thing, or places that we frequent. It's just really a small world in a lot of ways, but yet we'll go years without meeting or knowing certain people. So I checked out the channel and it's solid. It's definitely something worth your view. So check it out. Hammerhead Model Making. Well, so there we were. First time in 5 years that I have skipped putting a show together. Now, again, when we do this morning coffee segment, it's just like you and I sitting down together at the same table under the umbrella, having a cup of coffee. And I remember those days really well at work. My supervisor, who was a very, very good friend and still is, we would quite often escape the office and go to Starbucks, because there was a Starbucks nearby. And we'd sit outside and enjoy the morning and have coffee and let our creative juices flow. We came up with some really cool things for the office. Well, one of the things that would happen when we would get into that environment is we'd be very honest about things. The facades that we would put up in the office just would melt away. And so we were always very open and honest about our feelings and what we thought about things. So that's what this morning coffee really is. When you guys tune in here, this is me. This is, you get the real me. And I show a lot of vulnerabilities. Okay. I'm very honest and open with you folks. Some people like that. Some people don't. But the reason I do it is I want to be transparent. I want you guys to see and know the person behind the camera who's doing all of this weird stuff. So with that said, last Monday, I've been struggling for a while to put together content for this channel, and it's not that I don't have content, it's my time constraints. You folks know that I have a bunch of grandkids. I watch some of them several days a week, and I have a few days of free time for me, but those are always jam-packed with stuff I'm trying to get done that I can't get done the rest of the week. On top of that, I have a son that he's an adult who suffers from a debilitating mental illness, who lives on the street. And I help him as much as I can. In other words, pretty much every day, I take some time. I go make sure he has his medication, help make sure that he's got food and other needs, and get him to medical appointments and take him to shelters, different places that he needs to go. Well, that takes a lot of effort as well. So with all of the things I have pulling on my time, I don't always have time to get the shows together that I want. And sometimes I just don't get any building time, any model building time. And that's what we mostly focus on here, is modeling stuff. So with this family trip planned that was going to be 5 days to the sand dunes, I'll tell you a little more about the trip here in a few minutes, but I got my truck back 24 hours, less than 24 hours before we were to leave, and my truck had been in the shop since wintertime, which, a month ago, no, a couple months, and with everything I had to do, I was just over busy. So I didn't have time to put anything together, and I'm not just going to throw something up that's complete garbage. I want something that's worth your time. You take the time to watch this. I want to reward that with something that hopefully is meaningful and important for you. I think my handle's breaking. Anyway, that's why we didn't do anything this last Monday. I needed to take a break from a lot of things in life, and I did. I spent 5 days at the sand dunes and had a great time. I'll tell you a little more about that in a few minutes. But anyway, no show last Monday, but this Monday, yes, we got something very important. We have a tutorial. We have a tutorial that I've been wanting to put together for a long time. Now, Tester's Paint, of course, I don't want to say it's gone, but they're out of business. They sold to Rust-Oleum, and Rust-Oleum felt that it wasn't worth their while, so eventually they dropped it as well. But the little teeny bottles of Tester's Paint that people have laying around, everybody's got some. I wanted to show that you can actually take that paint and you can do a nice paint job on an airliner, a car, whatever it is that you want to do a nice glossy paint job. That Tester's bottle paint works amazing. But you don't just brush it on. That's what we used to do when we were kids, and we remember the results. No, this is actually, painting a model car body. And so tomorrow's show is going to be using a bottle of this gloss black Tester's paint that I just bought, and we're going to paint Dom's GTX, that beautiful all black shiny masterpiece of a car. I'm going to show you how you can use that bottle paint, which is inexpensive, and get some pretty decent results. So that's the show tomorrow. Might want to see that one. On the Kit Hoarder Stash this last week, speaking of running out of content, one thing I am is with my stash that I've got a lot of models. We've put together a lot of shows, so I'm running short on kits that I haven't looked at and reviewed yet that I have. So when I cleaned out a while back, I mentioned that I had taken some of these kits that were started, in different forms of assembly and different stages of assembly, and I needed to get a bunch finished up. So there's a bunch of cars and a bunch of tanks in that in that pile. And I got looking at it. I thought, I've never mentioned anything about these Dragon M48s. So I knew that the one was pretty much done, that I'd even put paint on it, but I didn't remember how far exactly it was. And I knew that the other one had been started, but again, I didn't remember how far along it was. So when we did the show, I was a little surprised. I went, oh, I got the turret pretty much all done. I've got like half the bottom parts all done. And so, I wanted to review it more as a kit than a half-built kit, because I really like those Dragon kits. I really do. Again, the Dragon styrene tracks on the M48 can be, if something's moved or shifted in there and it smashes down those guide horns, you're not straightening them back up. You're gonna have to cut them off and get some other guide horns or custom make them or whatever. So I understand the frustration that some folks have with the Dragon styrene tracks. Again, I don't. I don't usually have an issue with them. So um, anyway, that's why we had these two partially built kits. Was I knew that they'd been started, the one in particular. Um, so I hope you guys got something out of it, I guess is what I'm saying. But these kits they're great. Now there's another kit coming out of an M48. Okay. It's like a tiger. I guess we need another one, Just my thoughts, but um these Dragon, I'm fine with these. I think they're great kits. So anyway, coming up this week, I'm not sure what we're going to do on the stash. I got to find something in there uh, that I can put up because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. We're having cup issues here. So the sand dunes, we usually go every year in the springtime to. It's called the Little Sahara State Park, and it's a couple hours from here. You'll have different people tell you different things. I can tell you to the campsite, it was almost 2.5 hours from my house in the northern part of Salt Lake City. And we leave on Thursday night. We go out. There's like 3 different ways you can get there. We go out to a little town called Tooele. That's where my son lives. Him and his wife live there. And this is the one that had the Camaros growing up. He was my hope for being, like his dad and being the mechanic. And Tom could turn a wrench. But he wasn't as, I guess, ambitious as I was when it came to cars. But Tom had a lot of ambitions as a young man. He looked at becoming a underwater welder. That would have been a great paying job. He'd looked into that. He'd looked into going to different mechanic schools, Wyotech, different things like that. He had looked at, he thought about one day opening up his own shop. And where he wound up settling was with a family friend. And I've talked about Clint before, and Rhino Hitches. He wound up working for Clint and Rhino Laundry. And he's one of Clint's right-hand men when it comes to getting things done, getting laundromats installed, things like that. And he's a very good welder, so he's very valuable to the company. My son Tom has a sandrail that he purchased earlier this year, and this was going to be its maiden voyage. So we go out there, we pick them up, and we convoy out to the sand dunes. We get there just about dark. Now, being that it's Memorial Day weekend, and this was a Thursday night, there's already a ton of people there, a lot of people, because that's a very popular place on Memorial Day. Well, we were able to get a spot, an area, not far from the main dunes themselves. The Sand Mountain is what it's called, and we were able to watch stuff go up and down the mountain. It was a lot of fun to just be able to sit there and camp and watch people zip up and down the mountain. The downside was there was no trees, and so you'd get windstorms and whatnot, and just sand everywhere. And the restrooms were a little bit of a walk. Imagine walking to the end of your block to have to go pee. Yeah. I mean, it's not like you could just, you are wall-to-wall people there. So it's not like you could just go out behind your truck and, take a squirt. You can't do that. Because behind your truck is some other guy in the truck 2 feet away from yours, kind of thing. I mean, it's just very crowded. So there was some downsides to it. It was the first time I took my puppy out, and she had a great time. I made her sleep up in the back of the truck with me, and she was a little snuggly bear. She was really a good dog. And that helped our bond because since we've gotten back, she's been a lot more loving and attentive to me, which is really cool. But it was great to take the puppy. It was Tom's got three beautiful. Uh, what are they? Used to be police dogs, German shepherds. One is a German Shepherd Husky mix, and we've talked about her before. Gypsy, she's been here on the show before. So it was a great time with the dogs, with the family, with the grandkids. That was the main thing. Was my granddaughter got to go. I had other family members show up, and I had all these grandkids there. It was just a great time. So I got to decompress, be away from everything. Got to be away from pretty much anything on the phone because you could get calls and you could get texts, but they wouldn't always go through immediately. Service was very spotty, and streaming anything you couldn't, I couldn't watch YouTube or anything like that. So it was 5 days of unplugged, pretty much just away, and it was great. Um, the sandrail did break down a couple of times. We had to go in and get some parts, get it fixed. Finally, I don't know if his clutch finally just went out or what exactly happened, but we couldn't get it to shift. So we had to put it away and it was done. But he's got a little go-kart that the kids got to zip around in, and it was a lot of fun for them. So for me, you've heard me complain about Utah a lot, but there's a lot of great places here, really close. I mean, 2 hours away, and you're in the Sahara Desert, basically. So the mountains are, an hour from here. You can be, when it's 100 degrees here, you can be up in the mountains and it's, 65. You can be up fishing, camping, all sorts of stuff. So there's lots to do in Utah if you're an outdoorsy person. And I'm not a huge outdoor person, but I like to explore, which we haven't done yet this year because of a lot of different things. Number one, I just got the truck back. $700 later, I have headlights again. Woohoo. But yeah, I just got the truck back. So I still have a lot of work to do and a lot of things to, get ready to go off-roading. I had less than 24 hours to get all the stuff out of there that had been kind of like winter items and whatnot, and get my bedding and such in there so that I could sleep in there on this trip. So it was a it was a hectic week, let's put it that way, because that was also the week that I'd hit a chuck hole, busted the rim on my car, and had to shell out 300, about 300 when everything was said and done, to get a new rim for the Mustang. And those potholes still haven't been fixed around here. It's I don't know, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, folks, I'm going to let you get to your Sunday activities, and I am going to get a little modeling done. So thanks for indulging. Thanks for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow painting a really cool looking black GTX.